Members, good afternoon. This is the 20th of April 2026. Let's get started. It's the panel on constitutional affairs. Agenda item number 1, information papers issued since last meeting. It's a appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Agenda item number 1. The Secretariat has not issued any information papers since last meeting. Agenda item number 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. List of outstanding items for discussion and list of follow-up actions. CB-2071/2026-01 and CB-2071/2026-02 respectively. The next meeting will be conducted at 2:30 p.m. on the 18th of May 2026, Monday. The administration proposed to discuss the following two matters. 1. Promotion of the Constitution and the Basic Law. 2. The second item will be we are going to discuss with the administration the second item to be discussed, and we are going to inform members in due course. Agenda item number 3, Electoral Affairs Commission report on the 2025 Legislative Council General Election. For members who would like to ask questions, please press the Request to Speak button. We now invite the administration to join us. All right. Let's welcome Mr. Clement Wu, Undersecretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs, and his team. Members can refer to the documents provided. CB-2471/2026-03 paper provided by the administration, and CB-2471/2026-04. That is the background brief prepared by the Secretariat. Let's hear from Mr. Wu. He's going to take us through the paper provided by the administration. Thank you. The 8th LCGE was conducted on the 7th of December 2025. This was the second Legislative Council General Election after the improved electoral system. This is very important to improving the well-being of local people and fostering the economic development. We saw different candidates coming from different backgrounds trying to gain the trust of people in Hong Kong. It was a fair and rational election. 90 members of the Legislative Council were successfully returned. The arrangements and the election were smoothly conducted. A lot of measures have been introduced to the latest general election. It facilitated electors and facilitated candidates at the same time. Different quarters of society expressed their acknowledgement for different measures implemented. The EAC will continue to maintain a close dialogue with different stakeholders. In the coming 2 years, there are a total of 3 elections. That is the EC constituency election, chief executive election, and district council election. We're going to make good preparation to ensure that these elections will be conducted in a fair, just, and honest manner. In the following, I'm going to invite Ms. Chan, Chief Electoral Officer, to take members through the main review results in the General Election Report. Thank you. Ms. Natalie Chan, thank you. The LCGE was conducted at the end of last year. The EC constituency in early March, the EAC submitted a report in early March to the Chief Executive. In late March, the report was published for the public to refer to. It details different preparations including the recommendations made by the EAC on the future elections. This election was conducted in an open, transparent, honest, and fair manner. The arrangements of the LCGE were fully acknowledged. In the report, the EAC made concrete proposals on 5 main areas, including facilitating electors, facilitating candidates, enhancing counting efficiency, strengthening command and coordination effectiveness, and strengthening staff training. On facilitating electors, the EAC referred to near-boundary polling stations and designated polling stations. Polling hours have been extended, and the ballot paper checking machines were also installed by the REO. A review has been conducted. The main response was that the effectiveness was ideal. However, we're going to make enhancements to make the arrangements even better in the future. On facilitating candidates, we reviewed electronic forms and introduction to candidates. We allowed candidates to submit information in a more efficient and effective manner. On enhancing counting efficiency, we set up ballot paper sorting station and consolidated main counting station. In the central counting station, arrangements have been made to enhance counting efficiency. This will continue to be implemented. Owing to electronic counting, the design for the functional constituency has been amended, and we're going to continue to review the effectiveness. On strengthening command and coordination effectiveness, the relevant measures and manpower will be regularized. The EAC also agreed with the introduction of a system that is the Election Information Communication System. It proposes continuing to use this system. At the same time, it will also explore enhancements. The EAC is of the view that polling stations and the central counting station have provided training to the staff working therein. It is suggested that these arrangements should continue to be used, and there should also be more drills. The EAC also proposes to conduct long-term surveys to see how the relevant knowledge can be passed on to the next round of staff. We'll continue to look into how we can continue to hold elections in an open, fair, honest, and safe manner. That concludes my introduction to the report on the LCGE. We welcome members' suggestions and views. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Natalie Chen. Now I'm going to invite members who have pressed the button to request to speak. I'm going to allow each member 3 minutes each. They are Mr. Andrew Yao, Mr. Robert Lee, Mr. Wu Yingpeng, Professor Chen Wen-kong, Mr. Andrew Fan, Mr. Eric Yim, Ms. Jeannie Man, Mr. Tommy Chung, and myself. Let's start with Mr. Andrew Yao. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Electronic polling and counting, extension of polling stations, we have seen breakthrough in these arrangements. The overall arrangements were smooth, especially after the typo fire. The administration sent manpower and improved the election arrangements. In the end, 1.31 million voters cast their votes, and the election uptake was 31.9%. For individual sectors, the voting rate was as high as 99.45%. I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the administration. In the EC constituency, a new system was implemented, and the counting time was significantly reduced from 11 hours in the last term to about 6 hours. I believe the administration has accumulated certain experience. Will this be extended to the direct election of the geographical constituency in the future? Thank you. Mr. Wu, thank you. Thank you, member, for acknowledging our efforts in the Legislative Council General Election, LCGE for short. As for electronic counting, indeed, it has streamlined the procedures and saved us much time. In addition to the electronic format, when it comes to the procedures, we have managed to streamline many of the procedures. Thus, the counting time was significantly reduced from about 11 hours to about 6 hours. Regarding other functions, when it comes to the geographical constituency, we need to consider different factors, such as electronic counting of votes, as well as other smart functions. We will strive to implement these in an orderly manner. However, there are as many as 600 polling stations in the GC election. In the EC constituency and the functional constituency, the format is different from that in the GC. In each of the 600 polling stations of the GC, voter only chooses one candidate. And the counting staff already have knowledge when it comes to counting the votes. The time taken will not be too long. However, if we need to set up electronic devices to count the votes electronically in all 600 stations, we need manpower as well as equipment. There will also be a lot of backup equipment and devices. We also need a stable internet connection as well as manpower to assist in the operation of the e-system. We need to strike a balance between the effectiveness and the cost effectiveness. We will see how we can make better use of the technology to apply it to different types of elections in the future. Thank you. Next to Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, regarding the 2025 LC general election, the government and different sectors of the community have done a lot of work. Different sectors have seen an increase in the voting rate. I'd like to follow up on two matters. One, in relation to the registration of voters, there are vetting procedures. I'd like to know how we can further improve the accuracy and completeness of the information of candidates. Take the FC as an example. On a personal level or on the company level, the information may be subject to change even after the deadline of registration. Say there is transfer of shares, change in the membership of the board of directors. All these may happen at the last minute. This information may be key. Some information is subject to change. I'd like to know whether there are any measures for further enhancing the accuracy of information of candidates. And last week, there may still be some changes. I'd like to know how the administration can improve this. My second question rides on Mr. Andrew Yao's question. The EC counting only took 1 hour. However, the FC took 6 hours. I'd like to know what pain points you have identified. I'd like to see continuous enhancements. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your questions. Regarding information of candidates, I'd like to ask Ms. Natalie Chan to give you more information in a moment. Each time we allow candidates to register, we allow them a period of time. In the end, we will come up with a finalized register of candidates. We have already made exchanges with Mr. Lee. There were some changes that took place after the 2nd of June. we do our best to make arrangements so that candidates can supply correct information. In a moment, I'm going to ask Ms. Natalie Chan to give you more information on the counting of the FC. We will continue to make enhancements. We aim to improve electoral arrangements. On electronic counting, we'll see how we can enhance efficiency. Last time, we managed to shorten the time to 6 hours, and we hope that we can further shorten the time. As set out in the report of the EAC, this arrangement was a very smooth one. In the upcoming elections, I believe in the FC, we'll continue to use electronic counting. I'd like to ask Ms. Natalie Chan to give you more information about the area you mentioned.
I'd just like to supplement a bit. As Mr. Lee has pointed out, every year we have an election cycle, and then we will provide notices to the relevant voters to make sure that the information is complete and accurate. For the notice to the companies, they would have the information with the REO, including the address and also the names of the representatives of these companies. And then the updated information will have to be provided to the REO. After the deadline, the REO will continue to liaise with these organizations, voters. Our aim is to ensure that the representatives are the qualified voters. If there is the change in the address or if the authorized voter has been changed and the voting eligibility will not be affected, then after receiving such new information, we will put the data back to the authorized representative through emails. So all the information will be provided back to them, and then they would know which polling station to go to cast their vote. Thank you. Next, Mr. Hu Yingpang. Thank you, Chair. Well, the CMO and the REO have done a lot of fruitful work regarding the electoral general election, and I think we have to consolidate experience every year. For the 2025 electoral general election, I noticed that they have set up dedicated and outreach polling stations. So I would like to know how's the effectiveness of these polling stations, and how do you decide whether to set up designated polling station for certain electoral groups, and will you adopt the same arrangement for future elections? Thank you, Mr. Well, this time it is a pilot for us. All along, we arrange for the voters to go to the polling station close to where they live to facilitate their voting. And we noticed that in the past, because of the work nature of certain electors, maybe they have to be on shift duty and they have long working hours, then they may not have sufficient time to go back to the polling station close to their residence. Also, we have set out outreach polling stations for voters who are living in residential care homes. And so the residential care homes may not be close to the residential address reported to us. So that's why, as a pilot, this time we have set up the designated polling stations. And also, we are aware that a lot of civil servants have to work on the polling day, and they have to provide emergency services like the disciplinary forces and also the hospital staff. So that's why we have set up a dedicated polling station for civil servants. Similarly, for the hospital healthcare staff, we also have a designated polling station for them. So they pre-register with us, and then they can go to the designated polling stations. Also, for the residential care homes, we have the outreach polling stations for the residents there. Well, in future, since we have conducted a pilot this time, we need to review the effectiveness and also the effectiveness of the designated polling stations. They have to be pre-registered with us, and the voting turnout rate is satisfactory. So for next major elections, the electoral elections and district council elections, we will look into the arrangements for designated polling stations. as to how we can facilitate the voters to cast their vote at their convenience. Last year, I noticed that during our publicity program, we had thanked all the different stakeholders like the commerce industry, and urged them to provide convenience for their employers to cast their vote on voting day. And I have to thank them. Next, Mr. Chen Wing-kwong. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank the REO for their fruitful work regarding the 2025 electoral general election, which have been smoothly conducted. I have a few follow-up questions. According to the government's reply to the special questions on the estimates, it is noticed that the expenses for the future election may be about $1.32 billion, and it has included for about 44.6%. For personal remuneration, it has taken up about $300 billion. So I would like to know whether in future you will make use of technology to enhance efficiency and also to reduce costs so that the election procedures will be even smoother. On the publicity and promotion for elections, so apart from the current promotion strategies, will you consider closely liaising with the media to have more election forums so that the members of the public will know more about the candidates and also to entice them to cast their vote? Thank you. Undersecretary. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the question. I will respond to the second part. For the first part on the expenses, I will defer to the Deputy Secretary Raymond See. Well, we of course want to collaborate with the various sectors of the community to promote the elections. We have streamlined the election procedures, and also we have some institutional advantages arising from that. We are now having patriots ruling Hong Kong, so we have to step up publicity and promotion, and it is an ongoing work. When we enter an election cycle or the election year, we will liaise with all sectors, including the media, to conduct publicity and promotion activities, including election forums, interviews, and related activities. So we will definitely consider how best to conduct such work. For the first part of the question, I will defer to the Deputy Secretary. Raymond See. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the questions. On the expenses, there has been some increase. I noticed that for personal remuneration, there has been some increase. Apart from the expenses for REO staff, this time we have also made use of a lot of INT systems and enhanced them. So for the delivery of the ballot papers, and then also the electronic counting for the FC ballot votes, and also the Central Coordination Center, we need support. So that's why we have employed more manpower for such work, and therefore the expenses is higher. But the result is very satisfactory, and we will move towards the direction of introducing or reviewing whether we can have more electronic measures to enhance the different aspects of the election, and also to enhance the accuracy of our election information. But then, of course, we also have to set aside some manpower as a backup contingency work. But for the long term, I think definitely there is room for using more information technology. Thank you. Mr. Andrew Fan. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank the Bureau and the REO for a very satisfactory election organized. Well, for the information regarding introduction of candidates, most of them can be submitted electronically. I have three questions that I would like to reflect to the administration. First, when we try to get hold of the information on the registers, there are actually 2 days. So according to the date where the candidates will come forward, there will be different time for checking such. So I would like to know whether in future, irrespective of the date of when a candidate will come forward, they can get hold of the information of the electoral roll. Also, for submitting information online, we call that the square form, in quotation. It is the information about the introduction to candidates. It seems that sometimes the signature is missing or part of the information is missing. For my personal experience, I have submitted 4 times the information online. So I would like to know whether you would enhance the system to ensure its reliability so that the information would not be lost through e-submission. Secondly, about the illegal display of election materials, there have been reports that the banners have been and flags have been displayed all over the place and for a very long time. So some citizens have reported to me that some of these banners and flags have been defaced or damaged, and they were afraid that they will fall down and hurt people. So I would like to know whether you will strengthen control over the display of on-street banners. Thank you, Mr. Fan. There are 3 questions. For the first 2 questions regarding information on the voters and submitting information online, I will defer to Ms. Chan. The third one is that the government attaches a lot of importance to election advertisement, and we have been liaising with the canvassing teams that they have to follow the guidelines and the rules to conduct election campaigning activities. So the banners should be displayed in designated places, and during the election period, they should be conducted orderly and efficiently. If there are situations whereby the banners have been damaged or defaced, causing concern to the road users or the passengers, then of course they have to be removed as soon as possible. We will continue to urge the candidates and canvassing teams concerned that they have to follow the rules about the size of the banners, and they should not obstruct the drivers and the passengers or the other road users. So I would refer to the Chief Electoral Officer, Ms. Chan. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Fan, for your questions. According to the existing regulations, a candidate can approach the REO to get hold of information, and there is a system for the postage for the electoral, for people on the electoral, and then they can send their information to the electors. So according to the concerns for the environment and effectiveness, we have to see whether the candidates would need to get hold to such information system. If yes, they can let us know, and then we will accede to their requests according to the time that we receive the requests, and then give them the postage stickers for reaching the voters. Mr. Fan asked whether we can have the arrangement for setting up a certain dates for disclosing such information so that the candidates can better prepare themselves. We will take that into account and review. We should do so for the next election. If the resources and requirements and the other things available, we'll see how we can enhance the arrangement regarding the release of mailing labels. On the form for submitting information online, we have used the e-form this time. The e-form uploader platform has been launched, and we have conducted a lot of tests concerning the platform. During the election, we have not received any feedback from the candidates to say that the platform is not working well, but I welcome Mr. Fan's input. We will go back and test the system again to see whether under certain situation, part of the information in the document may be missed. Maybe the size of the document is too large. We'll look into that when we go back.
Thank you. Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you, Chairman. I have 2 follow-up matters to ask and 1 question. It's about election expenditure. We saw an increase. As I understand, more electronic means have been implemented to enhance the efficiency of the election. Regarding expenditure, we should see a decrease instead. Just now the administration gave us some factors, so in the next elections we'd like to see the use of more electronic means in order to reduce the costs. Regarding the designated polling station arrangements, I'd like to express my acknowledgement of the efforts of the administration. Civil servants and healthcare workers could go to their designated polling stations to cast their votes. This is indeed a good arrangement. Just now you said that you would continue to make enhancements. Bus, MTR, the staff members should also be included in the next elections. You should consider providing arrangements for them to cast their votes. I represent the commercial sector number 3. At noon, all the voting was completed on that day, but the result was only released at 5 p.m. on the next day. It wasn't much different from the time we saw in the last election. In other words, even for a particular sector whose voting and counting finished the earliest, the result would still be released at last minute, the latest. Therefore, I'd like to ask the administration about this. Mr. Wu, thank you, Mr. Eric Yim, for your questions. 1. On digitalization and the use of electronic means, we agree, and as we have already said, we'll continue to work towards this direction. We'll see how we can better use technologies so that in the election process we will add more human touch and make it more convenient for electors and candidates. We are just getting started in the use of technologies. I hope Mr. Yim understands that the elections on the day must be conducted successfully. That's why, for the electronic technologies mentioned by Mr. Yim, we needed to conduct sufficient tests to make sure that it is fail-proof. Even if there was an issue, we needed a backup system. Manpower and technology support incurred extra expenditure. In any event, even if all the systems crashed on that day, we still needed to make sure that the counting of votes would be conducted in a successful manner. That's why, at this stage, we cannot reduce the cost of the election owing to the use of technologies at present, but we will continue to move towards this direction. Regarding the arrangements for designated polling stations, this is an arrangement introduced by the administration. We appeal to different sectors of the community, such as the commercial sector, to respond. That is by allowing staff members who needed to go to work that day to cast their votes. We'll continue to make enhancements in this regard. Regarding the third area, I'd like to thank the Commercial Sector 3. The voting was completed very quickly, but we only started counting the votes after the entire election, or the entire polling procedures. The whole process was only completed in the evening, and that's exactly the moment we started counting the votes. We'll try to work faster next time. Dr. Thomas So and Dr. Junius Ho have also pressed the button to request to speak, so I'm going to draw a line here. Ms. Jeannie Mann, thank you. In the EC constituency, there were ballot paper checking machines. The operation was ideal and successful. But let's refer to the report on the LCGE. A total of 41,000 invalid votes. After the election last year, the government does not rule out the possibility of introducing smart ballot boxes in order to reduce the number of invalid votes. I'd like to know whether the REO has started reviewing the arrangements for these smart ballot boxes. I'd like to ask Ms. Natalie Chan to answer. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mann, for your question. We have been adopting a safe approach to seek enhancements of the election arrangements. In different sections of the election, we also try to introduce technologies. The aim is to add an element of human touch and enhance efficiency. But each time we implement these policies, we need to consider security risks, IT application, as well as public trust. We considered introducing smart ballot box. We only have one goal. We want to make sure that the voters won't make any mistake in relation to the ballot paper. The aim is to have valid ballot paper every time. In our consultation with legislators, we received views that with the use of smart ballot box, privacy and the security or the confidentiality of the votes will be compromised. That is why we have chosen to use the automatic ballot paper checking machines, and the result has been quite good. But going forward, will we continue to use this method in the GC? We will continue to tread cautiously to see whether we will use smart ballot boxes. Thank you. Mr. Tommy Chung. Thank you. I'm glad to see the success of the LCGE. I also acknowledge the election forums conducted. I'm from the import and export sector of the FC. I'd like to relay some views in relation to the different voting methods of direct election of GC and the FC. The method is different. Say a smaller square was needed to be used. I'd like to know whether we can standardize the voting arrangements. Some people asked where they could cast their votes for FCs. I suggest that the administration should enhance publicity so that voters will know where to get their 2 votes from. Thank you. Mr. Wu, thank you, Mr. Chung, for your questions and suggestions. Regarding GC, there's a chop of a tick. This is easy to understand. This is simple. Just now, other members referred to the use of electronic means. They want to make the elections more convenient and more efficient. They want to see the result faster. We have been trying to see whether we can use technologies. We need to make sure that the ballot papers are clear and effective. Just now, members referred to filling an oval adjacent to the name of the candidate in the FC election. We'll go back and consider this possibility. Are we going to enlarge the oval? How to make it more conspicuous? Do we need to remind voters we will conduct reviews in these areas. We will also strengthen our publicity, targeting FC voters. Our goal is to provide convenience to as many voters as possible so that voters can cast all of their votes when they go to one polling station. Next, Dr. Thomas So. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to commend the EAC. In the 2025 Legislative Council General Election, overall, it was successful, despite the fact that in some particular sectors, there was still room for improvement in the voter turnout rates. We hope to see a boost in the voter turnout in the upcoming elections. I'd like to refer to the administration to the EM designated polling stations. Wan Chai Sik Temple and Kowloon Temple, 2 designated polling stations for EMs were set up, but only 18 registered electors have used the services. The effectiveness isn't ideal, so I'd like to ask the administration whether you have a good understanding of the overall voter turnout of ethnic minorities. I'd also like to know whether there are any measures for boosting the voter turnout rate among the EMs. This will enhance their social cohesion as well as their sense of belonging to society. I'd like to know whether the administration has any concrete targets. Mr. Wu, thank you. I'd like to speak on the designated polling stations. As I mentioned, we want to provide convenience to all electors. That's why we have chosen to use designated polling stations. For all elections in Hong Kong, electors need to provide a residential address, and then we ask electors to go to a polling station close to your residential address to cast their vote. However, if there are any other reasons such that you need some designated polling stations, we will provide designated polling stations for you to cast your votes. We are going to review the use of some designated polling stations. Some of these designated polling stations have a lower voter turnout rate, but the overall turnout was satisfactory. In some places, the voters might have already cast their vote, and they didn't go to the designated polling stations. We are going to conduct reviews of this arrangement. Turning to ethnic minorities, we have rolled out different publicity measures using different languages. There were also languages used by ethnic minorities. We wanted to make sure that ethnic minorities would have all the information required regarding district publicity. We covered ethnic minorities as well. All people living in Hong Kong have the civic responsibilities to cast their votes. Thank you, Dr. Junius Ho. Thank you, Chairman. I was late to this meeting. I was in another meeting. I'm not sure if this question has already been asked. I'd like to know the total election expenditure. On the 7th of September, the by-election, and on the 17th, the general election. I'd like to know the election expenses. I'd like to ask Mr. C to give you an answer.
For the year 25 to 26, please speak up. For the 25 to 26 financial year, for the by-election, we have used about $200 million. For the electoral general election, the expenses is about $1.1 billion. So 3 months have passed. So how much have you exactly spent on? This is just estimates. We are still calculating the sums. Well, after the electoral election in last October, there are certain expenses which are still at the final stages. So we are still trying to finalize all the figures. What's the ballpark figure? For the electoral general election, we think the cost is about $1.4 billion. That may be close to the final expenditure. So the estimate is $1.1 billion, but now you think it is $1.4 billion. I would like to elaborate. For the financial year 25 to 26, that was when the electoral election was held. So all the expenses were included in the past financial year. But the election, for the preparation work, and also after the election, we have some follow-up work. So all the expenses will have to be taken into account, and that will cut across several financial years. That's why I say the latest estimate is about $1.4 billion across several financial years. Well, thank you. I would like to ask through the chairman. So we know the estimated figure is $1.4 billion. But for the by-election held on the 7th September, it has been completed for about 6 months. For the general election, it has been completed for about 3 months. So I'm not talking about the estimates. I would like to know what are the exact figures. Some of the expenses should have been settled. So, is it possible for you to let us know how much has been spent on the elections? We are not talking about actuaries here. But are you really going to spend all the $1.4 billion in the estimates? Chairman, our estimate is that for the electoral general election, the expenses will be about $1.4 billion. But of course, the final figure is not available yet. Just that we are still calculating some of the funds. Can I have a second round of questions? Well, maybe can you follow up with them after the meeting? Because time is running out. Would you be possible to let us know what is the actual expenses and how to avoid the cost of having invalid votes, which is accounting for about some 3%. So, Mr. C, can you provide the information in writing after the meeting when you have finalized all the sums? So finally, I would like to raise a question myself. Some colleagues have asked about the greater use of technology and e-system. That is the future direction. Well, maybe you can make use of IM Smart for people to update their information, and that will be a very instant update for people to update their information through electronic means. So I would like to thank you for having a successful election. Some of the times have been shortened, but for other things you have lengthened the time to complete the task. So we should be gradually improving the arrangements. In the past, you take about 11 hours. This time, you have taken less time. For the election committee constituency, you only take 1 hour to count the votes because it is very concentrated. So please let us know that you are making progress from time to time. For all the small polling stations or counting stations, you may not be able to use electronic means. But can you try to think about using e-counting for some of the constituencies? We cannot roll it out for Hong Kong as a whole at one time. Well, even for the banks, they use machines to count bank notes. Well, I noticed that sometimes you use manual power together with electronic means to count the votes. So maybe let's do that, and if there is any need, then you can follow up with manual counting of the ballot votes. Well, some members have already pointed out that when there are two candidates, you would give the squares for the voters to sort of fill in the oval. So the ovals are quite small, and they are worried that the filling of the oval may lead to invalid ballot papers. So if there is only one candidate, can you use the tick chop? You only use the oval when there are 2 or more candidates. Is that possible? Another point, for the civil servants, you allow them to have a designated polling station. Can you allow more people to use the DPS? For example, can you have 2 pilot schemes on Hong Kong Island, and then the civil servants can use these polling stations rather than using those near the boundaries? Lastly, I would like to say that there are fewer complaints concerning the elections. Sometimes the people may be providing wrong information, and that will not be a criminal offense. So I hope that will also reduce the resources deployed for conducting elections. So any response from the Undersecretary? Thank you, Chairman, for a lot of good suggestions, and also thank you for saying that our work is smooth and good. For e-measures, they will be able to make the elections more efficient, and also we want to make our elections more user-friendly. Well, some other members have pointed out that for the use of information technology and electronic means, we'll be taking that on board, gradually. Now the voters, they have a piece of ballot paper, and we'll try to see how we can conduct electronic means. The easiest one is for the election committee constituency counting, but we have to look into the situation of other FCs as well. Also, we want to facilitate our citizens. We have now some 600 polling stations for the geographic constituency election, and it will take time for us to pull together the ballot papers and count them. So we'll try to see how we can streamline and speed up the process. Well, thank you, Chairman, for your very good suggestions, and we will try to make our elections, more user-friendly, more efficient, and more facilitating for voters. Thank you. We have completed discussion on this item. If there is further information, please provide them in writing after the meeting. Now we move on to item number 4, development of the Guangdong Hong Kong Macau GBA. Members who would like to raise questions, please press the button. Also, I would like to welcome the Secretary for Constitutional Mainland Affairs and other government officials to enter the conference room. Welcome all government officials from the administration. Members, you may make reference to the paper CB 2471/2026-05 and also the background brief prepared by the Secretariat, paper CB 2471/2026-06. Now I would like to invite the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs to introduce the paper to us. Ms. Jie, please. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to introduce the latest developments regarding the GBA, particularly the deepening cooperation in the GBA and fostering coordinated regional development. The GBA development is personally designed and planned and driven by President Xi. It is a major government strategy to encourage high-quality development of the country and regional integration. And also, we want to highlight to use the GBA as an engine for high-quality development. so as to enhance regional and economic layout and foster regional development under the National 15th Five-Year Plan. The government attaches great importance to promoting the development of the GPA. We have shortly established the steering group on integration into national development, chaired by the CE, and then we have the 3 deputy secretaries of departments as the deputies. And we want to integrate into the overall national development and dovetail with the key national strategies, such as the development of the GPA. With the strong support of the central authorities and the efforts made by the 3 governments, various measures to enhance cross-boundary flow of information, etc., has been doing well. And the administration is trying to deepen cooperation within the various areas, including innovation and technology, and then also synergetic development of industries, and also the connectivity of infrastructure, and also the soft connectivity. And we want to build a living circle, and we want to have a high quality development for the GPA. For example, the Hong Kong Park has been commissioned in 2025 December. It has attracted some 70 companies to set up presence there. They are from overseas and the mainland, and this is a great platform for regional integration for development of new industrial development forces and new industrialization. So we will spearhead with the Hotel Hong Kong Park development, so that we will be a bridge of linking the mainland and the overseas, and also a place for attracting talent and enterprises to come to Hong Kong. We will also want to enhance the cooperation development of the Hong Kong Park and the Shenzhen Park. On cross-boundary vehicles, we have been working with the Guangdong and the Shenzhen Authority to enhance the measures and also to enhance capacity to facilitate the cross-boundary movement of drivers and vehicles. With the northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles being successful, the use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge has enhanced. The drivers who have taken part in it has reached a number of more than 140,000 private cars have taken it. So the Guangdong Vehicle Southbound travel scheme has also been commenced since 2025. The 2 measures complement each other and enhance the two-way travel of citizens of the 2 areas, and we enhance cross-boundary flow of goods and vehicles. For the cross-boundary Wealth Management Connect, it is also a very important measure. It is operating well, and all the measures being conducted for the 2.0 scheme for cross-boundary Wealth Connect. There has been increase of investment under that. About 140,000 people have participated in the scheme. The investment number is about $130 billion. So it is a formal channel for the people to invest, and it enhances cooperation for the financial sector in the GPA. And also there is new opportunities for wealth management. Also, we try to continue to enhance various measures to improve the quality circle of life there. The pilot scheme for using the elderly voucher scheme has been introduced in 2024, and now some 12 medical institutions accept the use of such vouchers. And also we have the direct transfer of patients through the ambulance. We have a pilot scheme on that. And since March this year, we have extended the pilot scheme to two-way transfer of patients. For the Guangdong Residential Care Home scheme, we try to help the elderly, frail elderly living there. In February this year, the number of LCHEs participating in the scheme has been expanded to 26, covering 9 cities in the GBA. These are the examples for the development of the GBA. So the integration of the GBA is boundless. We believe that with the cooperation between Hong Kong and Guangdong, we will be able to have a lot of innovation breakthrough that will be of mutual benefit to us, and also to enhance our development capacity. And we will be able to enable cross-boundary flow of people, data, information, etc. And also the development of the free places will be deepened and enlarged. In March 2026, at the fourth meeting of the NPC meeting, it has endorsed the 15th five-year plan. It is stated clearly that we should enhance the development of the GBA and also to enhance I&T development as well as public service. There should be more integration. And we also have to ensure the rule of law, and there should be pilot scheme for various cooperation platforms. We should try to build a world-class GBA so that we will become a cluster of world-class cities. So the government will, of course, attach importance to this and use a practical approach to opt for mutual complementarity. We will liaise with the relevant ministries and departments in the mainland and jointly develop the GBA so as to become a support for the development of the country as a whole, and will serve as a vital pillar for promoting regional integration, and will integrate with the key development strategies of the 15th five-year plan and continue to deepen the alignment of standards within the GBA. And also we will try to facilitate the cross-boundary flow of innovation elements, and so as to serve the development of the country. And we will try to devise more policies for facilitating our citizens, and at the same time to help the country to have a high-quality development and open up to the world. So today I have come with the relevant bureaus and departments. We would like to listen to your views and we'll be happy to take your questions. Thank you. This is the brief introduction, Chair.
Thank you, Secretary. President Xi directed that we need to develop the GBA. We have a dozen or so principal officials under secretaries joining our meeting today. I'm going to give each member about 3 minutes, questions and answers included. 11 members have pressed a button to request to speak. We need to wrap up this session by 4:25 p.m. I'm going to draw a line here. This is the lineup of members. Mr. Chilap Wai, Mr. Andrew Fan, Alex Fan, Professor Chen Wing-Kong, Dr. Thomas So, Mr. Eric Yim, Jeannie Mann, Kingsley Wong, Robert Lee, Holden Chow, Tommy Chung, Dr. Junice Ho, and myself. Mr. Chilap Wai, please. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank the administration for providing detailed information in the papers. This shows the government has proactively dovetailed with national development. I have 2 questions on social welfare and elderly services. One, on cross-boundary elderly services, there are 2 schemes, that is Guangdong and Fujian schemes. Payments will be directly debited to the designated bank accounts of elderly people. I'd like to know the latest application numbers under the 2 schemes. In addition to Guangdong and Fujian, will you consider extending the scheme to different provinces or municipalities to benefit more Hong Kong people? Regarding the residential care services scheme in Guangdong, there were a total of 1,048 Hong Kong elderly people receiving assistance. There is going to be a 6-month period in which elderly people can try to live in the residential care homes, and they can return to Hong Kong anytime. They can regain their position on the central waiting register. I'd like to know how many Hong Kong elderly people have returned to Hong Kong. Have you looked into the reasons why? Afterwards, are you going to encourage them to go back to the Chinese mainland to reside in those elderly care homes? At present, there are a total of 26 residential care homes. Will the number increase? What are the criteria? Thank you. I'd like to ask the Undersecretary for Labor and Welfare to take these questions. Thank you. Regarding Guangdong scheme and Fujian scheme, cash assistance schemes as of February 2026 for those who have taken part in the Guangdong and Fujian scheme. Guangdong scheme 27,870, and in the Fujian scheme 2,586. As for the CSSA, in Guangdong 507 and in Fujian 41. So the ratio is about 10-1. That is Guangdong to Fujian. There are increases in either side. Whether there is potential extension, we have engaged NGOs to set up offices to provide support. In Fujian, only about 2,500 people are using the service over there, so at present we have no plan to expand our scheme. Allow me to finish regarding the residential care services scheme in Guangdong. We have already made a change this year. We accept applications at the end of this month, and at the end of this year, we want to handle the applications in a more systematic manner. Regarding these specific numbers, we can reply to members when we have got the figures. Mr. Andrew Fan, thank you. The development of the GBA is very important in our national development. Regarding the flow of talent between Hong Kong and the GBA, the time of visa approval is still very long. There's a lack of standards or consistency. Would the administration consider having a two-way talent flow between Hong Kong and cities in the mainland? This will provide opportunities for Hong Kong talent to, first of all, register online and provide information on their educational qualifications, work experience, and preference. Will there be a specific channel providing visas for talent? This will shorten the time for talent to cross the boundary. Will there be any arrangements for providing a green channel so that when they have secured a job offer, they can immediately go to the Chinese mainland? Thank you. Secretary, regarding talent visa or the mutual recognition of visas, this is what we very much want to do. I'd like to ask the Undersecretary for Labor and Welfare to provide further information. We have already done a lot on this front. I'd like to ask Mr. Ho to give you further information. Thank you. I'd like to speak on the talent pool, and then I will ask Mr. Makuchak to talk about visas. We have different talent schemes for talent in the Chinese mainland and those from around the world. Many people like coming to Hong Kong for development. When they apply to Hong Kong, they can provide information voluntarily. This will enhance the convenience of securing a job offer with talent engaged. However, this is not a hard and fast requirement. Whether they want to join the talent pool or whether they want to publicize their information, this is their own choice. We'll need more time to look into this arrangement. How can we facilitate the cross-boundary flow of information? We'll need to consider this, and we'll continue to maintain a close dialogue with the Chinese mainland. Regarding visas, I'm going to invite Mr. Michael Chuk to provide further information. Mr. Chuk, thank you. Hong Kong has been collaborating with the mainland China in this regard. Starting from 2023, we have different talent visa schemes. Each time they will stay in Hong Kong for less than 30 days. We have also extended the commercial visas from 7 days to 14 days to facilitate the flow of commercial and transactions. Regarding going north, the validity period is 5 years. This facilitates non-Chinese Hong Kong residents, irrespective of their nationality, they can enjoy the benefits of this visa. and non-Chinese Hong Kong citizens can also use the home visit permit or the visa between mainland and Hong Kong. Other people can use other types of documents. The issuance is provided by the authorities in the Chinese mainland. We are communicating with the counterparts in the Chinese mainland to explore policy innovation. Through ETOs, we are actively promoting our talent policies, including those coming to Hong Kong and those leaving Hong Kong. Professor Alex Fan. This matter is indeed very important. I have a lot of questions, but in the interest of time, I'm only going to ask about 2 questions. I'd like to ask about the development of GBA standards in paragraph 33 of the paper. It is mentioned that the Trade and Industry Department is responsible for coordinating the participation of relevant government bureaus and departments in the work of GBA standards. I'd like to know whether there are any concrete policies allowing Hong Kong or different sectors in Hong Kong to leverage on our influence so that we can better contribute to our country. Next, on the flow of cash and capital, I'm a barrister myself and I had a lot of businesses in the Chinese mainland, as do many businesses. As for NGOs of social welfare sectors, there are many issues in relation to money remittance. There are many difficulties if money is transferred from Hong Kong to the Chinese mainland. But for the other way round, oftentimes there are many obstacles. I understand that this problem alone could not be solved by the Hong Kong side. Now we are discussing the collaboration between Hong Kong and the GBA. If Hong Kong has closer ties with the Chinese mainland or the GBA, what plans does the administration have to facilitate the flow of cash and capital with the GBA? Will there be relaxation? Thank you. Secretary. I'd like to ask Dr. Bernard Chen, Undersecretary for Commerce and Economic Development, to provide more information on enhancing the influence of Hong Kong. And I will ask another official to take another question. Regarding GBA standards, I believe members know it is a set of standards on management, productivity, manufacturing method. This is a standard or a set of standards for industries to draw reference from. They can actively dovetail with the standards used in the GBA. As a matter of fact, in Hong Kong, we are proud of a lot of standards in Hong Kong. And the TID actively encourages government departments or different industries to apply for recognition of the GBA standards. Say for the Hong Kong Printing Association, there are applications submitted by the relevant association. As for hospital meals, they have taken part in the scheme on soft meals or care meals. As for engineers, they have also taken part in an assessment. And this month, we have seen some standards being accepted as GBA standards, and for CFS, they have also achieved recognition. The same goes for the Environmental Protection Department and the EMSD. As for the CEDD, They have also taken part in some of the GBA standards. As I mentioned, the TID will continue to liaise with the relevant stakeholders. Next, DS. Thank you. I'll be brief. As for the flow of talent and information, this is actually an important part of our work. It is important to developing the GBA regarding capital. In the past, we rolled out together with the Chinese mainland some payment methods or payment schemes. What I'd like members to understand, alongside policy innovation, we're collaborating with different jurisdictions. All three jurisdictions have different laws and regulations. Therefore, we need to tread very cautiously. But I understand the members' concerns. On a personal level or on a company level, how can we facilitate easier cash flow and capital flow? We have been working hard to make enhancements in this regard. Whenever we have new policies and measures, we are going to make announcements.
Mr. Chairman Kong, thank you, Chair. I'm very delighted to see that all the bureaus and departments have been trying to deepen the collaboration amongst the three places. I have a few follow-up questions. First, I support the development of INT integration within the GBA area, and I noticed the government has put in a lot of resources. It has put in a lot of $10 billion investments. But I noticed that for everyday life, not all the citizens are aware about the development in the Hotao area, and they do not know about the latest development progress. So I would like the administration to let us know when you're trying to promote INT development and also the integration of industrial development, what advantages or benefits will be bring about to the citizens and how they can grasp this development opportunity and enjoy the fruits of joint development. Also, I'm concerned about cross-boundary medical collaboration. We notice that a lot of Hong Kong citizens have moved to the mainland and they make use of the medical services there. So I would like to know whether you will try to enhance collaboration with the mainland medical authorities to provide more cross-boundary services. For example, patients, they are waiting for service in Hong Kong hospitals for a long time, so how they can make use of the facilities available in the mainland for, say, radiology services. Also, would there be mutual recognition of the facilities and the services, so as to enhance the burden, so as to release the burden on the public hospitals in Hong Kong? I also look forward to the joint inspection facilities at Wong Kwong and Sha Tau Kwok, and there will be only for one inspection, joint inspection. So we're all concerned when these boundary control points will come into operation. So what are the latest developments regarding the software and the hardware there? And do you have an implementation timetable? Secretary, Chair, I will ask the Undersecretary of IT, IB, and also the Undersec from the Health Bureau to take the questions. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chan. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to report to you on the latest development regarding INT and the Hotao area. First of all, I would like to thank the Legislative Council for greatly supporting the development of information and technology. We have some results. You notice that in recent years, in 2025, according to the IMD, they have a report, and Hong Kong is already ranked third in this list. And Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou, this cluster, for the intellectual property innovation data released by the IPO, we are number one. So for the local ecology, you can see that from 2014, we don't have any unicorns at all. But in recent years, because of the effort, we have already some 20 unicorns in Hong Kong, and we have a lot of startups. As compared to last year, the increase is about 11%. The number of people employed is has increased by about 12% to several 100,000 people. So I think the IT development has to dovetail with the development of the nation. The mainland government wants to have technological self-reliance, so we have to enhance ourselves to increase new productivity forces and new industrialization. One of the very important strategy is Hotel. I would like to report to you that we are expediting the development of the Hotel area. There are already 2 wet laboratory buildings which has already come into place in the Hotel Hong Kong Park. We have attracted some 80 IT companies to go to that area. And for these 2 buildings, 90% of the floor areas have already been rented out. And for these 80 enterprises, 13% of them are listed companies. And more than half of them, 58%, they are actually the first time that come to Hong Kong to establish a presence. So we have already had 3 buildings. We anticipated that by the end of the year, we will have 5 more buildings coming on stream. So you can see that for the Hotel Hong Kong Park, there will be 8 buildings in total. For the second quarter, we will try to make use of private sector resources, and we will try to release the land parcels for development to expedite development. And we will try to build the Hotel Hong Kong Park into a frontier area for the development of new productivity forces. Thank you. For the health and medical area, I would like to provide some supplement. We agree with Mr. Chan that in future we should enhance collaboration between the various areas. For the medical field, it is the responsibility of the Hong Kong government to provide healthcare services for our citizens, but we want to have mutual benefit and complementarity and to enhance collaboration. First, our strategic move is for the information technology development. First, for the medical records, we hope that they can be transferred northwards and also southwards. For medical services, the Hospital Authority has a pilot scheme which allows the Hong Kong patients, if they have appointments with the general outpatients clinics or the specialist clinics, they can choose to receive service in the designated institutions in Shenzhen. For the elderly healthcare voucher scheme, we also have another pilot there, and it is doing well. Mr. Chen asked whether citizens can go up for tests, etc. We are trying to have 3 designated medical institutions that they can transmit such imaging to the records of the person so that the patients do not have to deal with that themselves. What about Hong Kong Port? Maybe you provide the information after the meeting, you follow up after the meeting, because other members may raise questions on it as well. We still have 9 members who want to speak. This is a very big topic. We need 10 more meetings to talk about it. So please make good use of the 3 minutes that you have. Next, Mr. Thomas So, Chairman. I fully agree that this is a very comprehensive report, and it would require 1 whole day or even more than that to talk about the report. Well, I have read the report. I am grateful to the various bureaus and departments who have been working hard. You are involving about some 10 policy bureaus and departments, and some of them actually cut across various bureaus and departments. For example, for mediation and also the GBA centers, there may be overlaps because we're saying that we have to integrate with the GBA. For some of the issues, it cut across the various bureaus. For example, it may touch upon the TLB and also Security Bureau. So there will be cross-bureau issues. My concern is that it seems to be a very, very big ship, but a lot of people are rowing on it together. How can we ensure that the efficiency of this boat will be put to good use. I know that you have a steering committee and the CE is chairing the steering group. So for the coordination, how are you going to go about it? How can you ensure that when you press ahead with this very important topic, all the resources will not be overlapped or wasted? Secretary. Well, thank you, Chair and Mr. So, for the question. This is exactly the role of the CMAB. We are responsible for coordinating the various bureaus and departments about the integration of the GBA, how we can be more efficient and more comprehensive. For the various topics, for example, like GBA standards, the TID and the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau and other bureaus would also participate in it. They all try to see what Hong Kong standards can be aligned with the mainland standards and it will become GBA standards so as to facilitate our citizens, our professionals, and our business sector. So the coordinating role is not just performed by my bureau. I have a commissioner for the GBA. Maybe I'll defer to the Commissioner, Pamela Lam, for the development of the GBA. How exactly do we go about our work? When we try to take forward the development of the GBA, we try to see what topics we're talking about. For some topics, it may be related to the professionals. For example, the integration of legal matters. Then DOJ will take the lead. But for the GBA office, we will try to have an overview of the integration of the various issues, and we will have regular meetings with the concerned bureaus and departments. We try to ask them about what is the latest progress. And then the progress will be reported to the steering group on the integration international development. So for the day-to-day work, the relevant bureau will have liaison with their relevant counterparts in the GBA cities. But as an overview, the GBA office will be responsible for overseeing the progress of the key areas. Also, we will try to look at the bottlenecks and the pain points, and then we'll try to liaise with the relevant counterparts on such. Chair, I want to supplement. We are not just looking at the current practices for coordination, but during the coordination process, we try to identify the pain points and we try to see whether we can address them from different angles. And then for one project, if it is successful, we may try to replicate it for other projects so that the integration will be smoother and deeper. Thank you. Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you, Chair. Well, the integration of the development of the GBA is how we integrate with the national policy. For the mutual recognition and connectivity, we're glad to see that there is a lot of good progress. We have a lot of money increasing from 2 billion to 180 billion investment crossing the boundary. For the investments going north, it is very easy. But for the mainland investments to come to Hong Kong, it may not be that easy. One of the points of concern is that for the top talent scheme, if the mainland talents come to Hong Kong under the scheme, if they want to buy a property, then they will have to be given an opportunity for bringing money to buy property in Hong Kong. For example, can we have a pilot in the GBA so that we can have a closed circuit management system for transferring the money to Hong Kong for buying properties? So I would like to know whether there is any progress in this aspect. I gather from the news in recent years that Hong Kong people can buy properties in all the cities in Hong Kong. This is an opening up measure, but there is still some difficulties for the top talents who come to Hong Kong to buy properties here. So can you elaborate a bit on this aspect? The second point is about the cross-boundary transport. For the goods vehicles, mostly it is goods vehicles of Hong Kong going to the mainland area to gather goods and then come back to Hong Kong. But for the mainland containers, can we increase the quota for them to come to Hong Kong? This will reduce the logistics costs, and it will be conducive for the goods to be transshipped in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Regarding talent coming to Hong Kong to buy properties, I'd like to ask the Undersecretary for FSTB to give you more information. Regarding logistics costs, I'd like to ask the Undersecretary for Transport and Logistics to give you more information. Thank you. On cross-boundary payment, just now we already said that this is under the purview of the FSTB and other financial regulators. In June 2025, the Hong Kong MA and the People's Central Bank already rolled out a cross-boundary payment scheme. This is a safe and highly efficient method to allow cross-boundary payment. As of today, over 3.3 million transactions cross-boundary payments have been accepted, covering over 18.3 billion people. Regarding the possibility of a closed-loop arrangement, we have already heeded the views of the industry. We are exploring this, and when we have further announcements to make, we will do so. Mr. Liu, thank you. Regarding the quotas of cross-boundary logistics, we need to forge consensus with the mainland before we can implement this. But of course, we have been providing new quotas for mainland companies to come to Hong Kong. A problem that we need to solve is the mutual recognition of drivers of commercial vehicles. Regarding goods vehicle drivers, for drivers in the mainland, they do not have license in Hong Kong. Therefore, they couldn't drive a goods vehicle and come to Hong Kong. We have been having quite a good dialogue with the Chinese mainland. We want to get this problem solved first. At the latest, we want to be able to put forward some suggestions by the end of next year. Thank you, Ms. Jeannie Man. Thank you. Like Professor Alex Fan, I'd like to ask about GBA standards. At the end of March this year, a total of 270 standards were introduced, including Chinese cuisine or Cantonese cuisine. But at the end of the day, the recognition isn't quite good. I'd like to know whether the administration has any statistics on GBA standards. How are you going to enhance application of GBA standards? I'd like to know how the administration will enhance publicity on GBA standards as well. Regarding the portable CSSA scheme, about 900 inquiries have been made. 16 applications have been received and 10 have been approved. There's a great difference between the number of inquiries and that of applications. I'd like to know whether the administration has looked into the reasons why some elderly people did not make an application. Thank you. Regarding GBA standards, this is a voluntary scheme. There is no mandatory participation into the scheme. However, we understand when it comes to enhancing the recognition, of course, we can make it mandatory. But afterwards, across the boundary, there are different standards. I'd like to ask Dr. Bernard Chen to give you more information in this regard. Regarding the question on the social welfare schemes, I'd like to ask Mr. Ho to answer you. Thank you. Dr. Bernard Chan, regarding GBA standards, we have different units in the 3 places. There are government departments, public organizations, and industry associations. They have come together to draft it and to make an application. In other words, all GBA standards involve Hong Kong. We are involved in the formulation of these standards. Regarding participation in the formulation of the standards, as member mentioned, 270 GBA standards have been announced. For those where Hong Kong is involved in the formulation of the standards, there are a total of 3,000, and in Hong Kong there are about 600. So as you can see, the percentage is actually quite high. In my answer to Professor Alex Fan, I have already said that there are Hong Kong spearheaded GBA standard project regarding the use of GBA standards in Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau. For those claiming that they are using GBA standards, about 7,300, and Hong Kong accounts for about 10%, that is 780 companies. From the perspective of Hong Kong, we want to use the GBA standard platform to promote the products and services of Hong Kong. So if we can increase the ratio of using GBA standards in the Chinese mainland, this is definitely beneficial to Hong Kong. Regarding promotion, we need to know the purpose of promoting GBA standards. That is, we need to promote the soft connection or soft connectivity of the GBA. Elderly care services, transport, meal services, we want to promote the standardization of these standards across the 3 places. So regarding application, the registration and application, we need to leverage on our ATO networks. We need to work with different trade associations. Together, we hold a lot of seminars, sharing sessions, and seminars, introductory seminars to tell them about the detailed situation of the GBA. We need to make the GBA a livable city through GBA standards. So there will be a lot of collaboration opportunities of 9+2, and that is exactly how we can attract more investment and talent. We'll continue to do our work through the international network. Thank you. Mr. Ho? Thank you. I'll be quick. Thank you, member, for the question. Regarding CSSA recipients, when they reside in the GBA, they have many more concerns. We have some tours for them to try to reside in the residential care homes in the GBA. And we will also share the results or the findings we have with members afterwards. Thank you. Mr. Kingsley Wong, with GBA integration, a lot of people are going to the GBA for studies or for work. And this is exactly where I identify policy contradictions. Some children have lost their tax allowances. However, they have lost the OALL in Hong Kong because of the geographical restrictions in Hong Kong. I'd like to know whether the policy bureaus in Hong Kong have conducted any top-level design. Have you looked into the social policies from the perspective of Hong Kong? Will you consider analyzing the situation from the perspective of the GBA? We need to see how we integrate into national development. Healthcare services, elderly care services, can we use the perspective of the GBA? Have you studied whether these different arrangements will go against the basic law? I'd like to ask about the mutual recognition of the vehicles across 3 places. I'd like to ask about illegal workers as well. As for commercial licenses, there are some illegal workers in Hong Kong. You need quotas, and I want these arrangements to be handled well in order to avoid any contradictions. Secretary, yes, there are indeed differences in the regimes or systems across the 3 places, such as the tax system. We only levy tax for what happens or what takes place in Hong Kong. For Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, there are different rules. So we need to consider how not to affect the principle of one country, 2 systems, especially on legislation. The common law system could not be undermined, and I'd like to ask Mr. Ho to provide more information regarding elderly care services. I'd like him to talk about the standards of allowance disbursement. And I will also ask the Transport and Logistics Bureau to talk about mutual recognition of the vehicles in the 3 places. Thank you. Mr. Ho. Some people in Hong Kong want to go to the GBA to live while receiving allowances of Hong Kong there. Some of them can only join the Guangdong or Fujian scheme after a few years. We at present require contact. This scheme does not require a contribution. That is why we require a certain level of contact before they can continue to receive allowances. We will review the scheme to see how we can better integrate it into the GBA. Mr. Liu, thank you. Thank you, member, for asking the question about the mutual recognition of commercial vehicles in all 3 places. Of course, we know that we need to conduct consultation. If the work affects the employment of locals in Hong Kong, this will be a major cause for concern. However, with regard to commercial vehicle driving license recognition, even if there is mutual recognition, it doesn't mean drivers in the Chinese mainland can come to Hong Kong to work anytime. Only those who fulfill the specific requirements can come to Hong Kong. Cross-boundary logistics is one of the factors we take into account, but it doesn't mean as long as they have a goods vehicle license, they can come to Hong Kong to drive a goods vehicle anytime. That is not what we thought in the beginning either. Mr. Robert Lee, thank you. The GBA is indeed an important engine for growth. If we have good development in the GBA, this will benefit the local economy as well as the lives of Hong Kong people. There are a lot of good connection mechanisms, and we need to make enhancements in phases. I'd like to focus on the Cross-Boundary Wealth Management Connect 2.0. This is a good system from a macro perspective. How can we implement it in such a way that we can solve the issues of investors and financial organizations regarding the sale of products and the explanation of services? Can we be more direct? At present, referral is required between the Chinese mainland and Hong Kong. Colleagues in Hong Kong cannot directly communicate with the clients in the Chinese mainland regarding the nitty-gritty of the products and services. Is it possible to have more direct channels so that they can explain the products and services more directly regarding the demands for products? when they can take part in the scheme, it shows that they have the necessary means. They may not be interested in some medium to lower risk products. I'm not saying that they should all invest on high risk products, but if they have the financial means to invest in high risk products, can we expand the coverage of products? My third question is that there aren't many participating organizations. When this is a good scheme, can we extend it to allow more industries to benefit from it? There are many mainland organizations. Can we provide one-to-many instead of just one-to-one? We can grow large our pie. Thank you.
Thank you. I would defer to the Deputy Secretary, Mr. Francis Ho of FSTB. Thank you, Mr. Lee. You are very concerned about the development of the Cross-Boundary Wealth Management Connect. I think you know that by 2024, we roll out the Wealth Management Connect 2.0. We have increased the amount of investment and also the benchmark for the investors. We have relaxed some of the measures. For 2025, after the rollout of the Wealth Management Connect 2.0, for the sales of products and publicity, we have rolled out some facilitation measures. For instance, right now we accept written consents. So the Hong Kong banks, if they have obtained the written consent of the investors in the north, then they can introduce the products of the suitable risk to these clients. So there is also online free party meetings that can be conducted. So the southbound investors can liaise directly with the banks in Hong Kong, and also they can have free party meetings with the relevant mainland financial institution. For the products, there will be different categories of risk. You asked whether we can enlarge that. And also for the benchmark for investment regarding the investors. These are all the issues that we will look into. If there are new developments, we will announce them quickly. Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chairman. I want to talk about the cross-boundary railway projects. It is stated in the paper that we are pressing ahead with the section concerning Hung Shui Kiu and Qianhai. I think we can do better to kill two birds with one stone. For the section, if you extend it to Tuen Mun and Yano, then I think you can kill two birds with one stone. You would notice that for the residents in Tuen Mun, they will be served by this line. So apart from the Tuen Mun existing railway, they have another option of leaving their place of residence. Also, for the Qianhai, Hung Shui Kiu, and then Sunny Bay Link, you will be able to attract residents to come to Hong Kong. Sunny Bay is very close to the Hong Kong International Airport, and it will further enhance our role as an international aviation hub. And also will facilitate visitors from the mainland. So I would like to know whether this line can be further extended to Tuen Mun and Sunny Bay. So I would like to know what is the administration's latest thinking on this. I will defer to the Deputy Secretary for Transport and Logistics. Well, thank you, Mr. Chow, for your suggestion. We have actually heard about the same suggestion from various quarters, and the Secretary has responded to that at various ESCO meetings. For the railway project between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, we have to tie in with the regional development of Shenzhen and Hong Kong. So for the alignment, for the design of the alignment, for the Shenzhen section and the Hong Kong section, there is flexibility for extending northwards. As Mr. Chow has suggested, we can go to Lantau and Sunny Bay. Then we'll be able to connect to the airport. So this is something that we will look into in detail. So for the different alignments, we will look at the technical feasibility and also the cost. These are the matters that we're looking into. Mr. Tommy Jong. Thank you, Chairman. A lot of colleagues have talking about the policies regarding the GBA development, so I don't want to repeat them. I would like to focus on Hong Kong citizens who have moved to the cities in the GBA and about the dissemination of information to them. I noticed that there is now some information dissemination system, but then it is only one way. So if someone would like to raise questions, it seems that there is not an interactive function. For the Hong Kong citizens who have moved to live in the mainland, they will have to go to the various government departments for information regarding, say, entrepreneurship, etc. But because of the delineation responsibility amongst the various departments, there may be something that they have to adjust to. We also want to encourage more elderly Hong Kong people to move to the mainland, and the number has been increasing. So I think the information service will enhance. So how about the channels for disseminating information to them, like making use of the apps in Shenzhen, and also some indications for them to live there, so that the Hong Kong people will be able to get hold of the information quickly. So please don't just rely on emails and web pages for disseminating information to the Hong Kong citizens. Well, thank you, Mr. Zhong, for the question. The CMAB has various offices set up in the mainland. We have offices in some 30 municipalities and cities. So apart from disseminating information, they also take the initiative to organize activities to facilitate the Hong Kong companies working there. And then also we try to entice companies to come to Hong Kong. We also organize a lot of activities for the Hong Kong people living and working there, to give them facilitation and let them stay connected with Hong Kong so that they can integrate into the mainland and the GBA, but at the same time, they will get hold of information from Hong Kong. I think for the various bureaus and departments, they would have their own target groups and then maintain close contact with them. For example, for the elderly care service, the LWB has a lot of different schemes, and they have NGOs working with them. So the NGOs will liaise with the people living in there. As regards the use of mobile apps, we can maybe do more so that it will be easier for Hong Kong people to get hold of information on Hong Kong. This is something that we should do, and I think we should also step up publicity. Now we try to make use of the more popular platforms in the mainland, for example, like the Little Red Book, to disseminate information on Hong Kong. Before Mr. Junius Ho raised the question, I would like to point out that there are actually a lot of electoral meetings going on. So if some of the officials have to leave and attend the other meetings, please go ahead. Mr. Junius Ho? Well, this meeting will complete soon. I would like to raise a question with the Secretary. For the GBA standards, we noticed that for the GBA lawyers, there are some 600 of them, and we also have mediators and arbitrators ranging from 100 to 200 in number. So the trend is that such people will increase, and there will be more communication between Hong Kong and the mainland, especially concerning commercial facilitation and also the appearance at courts. I think there will be some positive impact. My question is that, according to Chapter 11, the Oath and Declaration Ordinance of Hong Kong, can we empower these mediators, arbitrators, and GBA lawyers to bear witness for their clients in the mainland? And the effect will be the same as that in Hong Kong. Then they do not need to rush back to Hong Kong to take an oath or make a declaration in the law office. Of course, this would involve the DOJ's views, but I think we should be practical and see whether we can extend our arm's length so that the power for taking oaths can be extended to the GBA. I think we can do so by just amending our legislation. What do you think, Secretary? Well, I think, of course, we want to facilitate the Hong Kong citizens in Hong Kong and meet their legal needs. But as Mr. Ho, you have pointed out, I have to defer to the DOJ to take this question. Mr. Quincy Wong to elaborate. Deputy Law Officer. Well, thank you for the question. On this issue, it concerns Cap 11 of the Hong Kong legislation. For the integration of the GBA, the role of the DOJ is to see whether under mediation and arbitration we can integrate the rules and then also synchronize the list of the mediators and the arbitrators. As regarding amendment to the Cap 11, to see whether we can facilitate Hong Kong people to take off in the mainland without coming back to Hong Kong in the Hong Kong law office. This is a separate topic. I think I'll go back and look into it. Thank you. Well, then I would like to urge the DOJ to really look into it because during mediation and arbitration, you would have to take off of the statements, and this is part of the process. The last question will be raised by me. We may extend the meeting for a few minutes. Well, this is a very important and comprehensive topic, and I would like to thank all the government officials for attending the meeting today. We now have some 3 task force, which involve the mainland. So the word mainland actually covers some dozen municipalities in the mainland. So I think every time when we have meeting with the mainland, it is not possible to have all the bureaus taking part in it. So how can you go about it? How can you have just say one meeting with the Guangdong authorities and then all the relevant bureaus can take a quick response instead of having one paper being circulated amongst the various bureaus and departments before the meeting? So how can you speed up the process? Time is pressing. To give you an example, Mr. Chan has asked about the Hong Kong port. We have visited the port for several times. And then for the mainland, they just go ahead with their policy endorsement. But for Hong Kong side, we have a lot of procedures and we have to amend the legislation. So how can we speed up the process? This is just one example. Also for the clearance at the various boundary control points, how can we speed that up? So I would like to know whether you can have more simple meetings and so that you don't have to wait for a long time to go around all the bureaus and departments before you can convene the meeting. You are having a very long procedure. So how can we expedite the process, Secretary? Thank you, Chairman. For the CMAB work procedure, we would be prepared to exercise flexibility. But if there are issues which may cut across various policy bureaus, then I think each and every policy will already be liaising with their relevant counterpart of the 3 jurisdictions already. There is already close collaboration amongst them. As to how we can coordinate them and put them together, then I think we can exercise a lot of flexibility in our everyday work. We can have a lot of, say, working group meetings. Oftentimes, the bureaus, for example, when they talk about a specific project, for example, about customs clearance at Hong Kong Port, or the residential care homes, or also investments coming south from the mainland, the relevant bureaus will already be able to identify their relevant counterparts. And during the process, if necessary, the CMAB officers in the mainland and also the Commissioner of GBA will be most willing to assist so as to expedite the process. So maybe Mr. Michael Chuck can elaborate on that. I think there are many, many examples as to how they can facilitate customs clearance.
Mr. Michael Chuck, thank you. Regarding facilitating measures of land boundary crossing points, we have direct communication with Shenzhen as well as other areas. For each land boundary control point, we have direct communication with the commander on the relevant BCPs. There are controls over vehicle flow as well as people flow. For the construction of new ports or for the improvement works conducted to existing ports, we make coordination with the relevant counterparts. As for Huanggang, the principal construction project has been completed. We have started to work with Shenzhen on the renovations as well as the indoor facilities such as the customs systems. Regarding the connecting bridge, the mainland side has already finished their part. Afterwards, we can start with the optical fibers in Hong Kong. It's not about policy, but more about the coordination of construction works. The Public Works Department is conducting reviews of the work almost every day. Before the end of the current term government, we aim to finish all the preparatory work regarding customs, and we will also strive to make it happen as soon as possible. Regarding facilitating measures, take Huanggang as an example, they are going to use the method of collaborative inspection and joint clearance for both vehicles and people. As for the Hengqing boundary control point in Zhuhai, they agreed to use this collaborative inspection and joint clearance model. There will only be one inspection. Considering the fact that we have collaborative inspection and joint clearance, we will see whether we can conduct in-vehicle inspection, and we will continue to liaise with our mainland counterparts. Regarding e-channels, we are trying the use of technologies. In June, the earliest, we can try to use touchless customs clearing systems at Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau Bridge. Facial recognition will be used for clearing customs. And this will also be tested on the One River 2 boundary control points. At present, we will start with the whitelist given the technical specifications required. Thank you, Chairman. Some government departments might have to work on site in order to iron out the problems. I thank principal officials for coming to the meeting today. Agenda item number 5. There being no any other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you, members.